Ta-da! Ha-ha! All right. Can you believe it? It's astrology and alchemy. Believe it or not, with me, your host, Paranormal Sarah. Usually we have Matthew Slozer. As you guys know, he and I are both working professionals. Last week we did not have a show because I was a guest speaker at the MNATSA. It's a national chapter annual conference. It's like, I think 1,000 people, just shy of 1,000, like 980 some people. Pretty big size conference in Minneapolis. I was speaking there, so it kind of took a lot of my work and my school and things to sit on the back seat and hear at our podcast the things that we do online. We don't get paid to do it. And so it often, unfortunately, the fun and the leisure stuff takes a back seat. So if you were there looking for us, I was there thinking of you, but we were not doing a show. And Matthew is not joining us tonight because he too is off doing a work event. He travels and does international business and like chemical engineering, business management, works with big countries. And oftentimes that means he has to travel. And that work is very important. And he's a dad of 5. So we got to do what we got to do. I will. If you can't tell, I look tired. I can see myself in the video. If you have the joy of watching us live, joining us on YouTube, welcome. Put in the chat room where you're at. I've been up for a while. My stepmother has been put in or on hospice, I suppose, not in hospice, but on hospice care. So I've spent the last, since coming home from the conference, driving a few hundred miles in the vehicle and in storms, kind of mitigating and managing and delegating and doing all that stuff. So I feel like I am exhausted, and then I am doing the show tonight on my own. So I'm really going to need your help if you're joining us in the chat. Lori, I see Omnessa. What a beautiful name, by the way. Onessa. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Rebel Steph. Thank goodness. For those saying, sorry to hear that. It's one of those, it's kind of bittersweet. I think anybody, if you know, have a loved one that's going through hospice, it's very, very bittersweet because my stepmother has struggled with Addison's disease and slip disc and failed surgeries and mishapped surgeries and things, medications gone awry, malpractice. And she's really struggling in her body, in her physical body. So I know that when are praying for peace and those things, it is really, really important to keep that in mind, and that I know that it's very selfish to just want to keep someone because you want to keep them around. So there's a lot of that processing. And I am an ordained persons the Universal Church of Non-Denominational. So if you're not a particular sect of religion, because Christian or Catholic, you're not allowed to be a woman and be clergy. So to do that, there's Matt. Woo! He's joining us from afar. He said he will see us next week. So I will be traveling this week. If you're in Kansas City, maybe you want to catch me that way. But yeah, so what day are we on, Pepper? We ain't even started. We're still in the 5 minutes of where is Matt? He's in the ether. He's in the chat room. I'm going to be trying to do this tonight on my own, which always makes me very, 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 very nervous. Not that I don't love to do a podcast on my own, but I feel like I ramble, and that when left to my own voices, will ramble in a great many ways. Some ways I shouldn't. So we will get started, though. And this last week, you can be a female priest in the Episcopalian church, says Pepper. I am not Episcopalian. Matt said, I'm at Pennsylvania at my parents right now. So he's doing family stuff. If you are drawn, I would love a general reading, please. And thank you. Absolutely. I think what we're going to do is we are going to, because I know I look ahead a little bit in my prep that the end of April, guys, this next 7 days going into the 1st of May, there's not a whole lot of major astrological movements. So, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm going to have plenty of time here at the end without the banter of Matthew and the additions of his knowledge. And I sneak peek. These are the 4 I won't be using, but can if you want to get a private reading. And please do, because I'm driving to Kansas City and need gas money. Shameless plug. But these 4 new decks I picked up. I was going out shopping. There's a local place nearby that's got a sale on all their tarot decks. So I bought one of every kind that I didn't already have. But the one I'm really loving, because yes, each deck has its own personality, is this one. It's called the Murder Crows. Ugh, holy macaroni. The fortune telling with this deck and the imagery is just stunning. So here we are. Dolly, Pepper, Vanessa. Gosh, I love that. Mary Beth, Matthew, John, Maddie, Dawn. Nice to see so many of you guys. And I hope you are having a great week. So get out your pen and paper if this is the first time that you've ever joined us here at Astrology and Alchemy. Being able to fight skepticism is really what helps you grow your intuition. If you can write down, dissociatively even, the thoughts that come to your mind when we are chatting and talking about astrology and the planets, and then it comes to fruition, the validation one receives and the clarity you get in your own intuition, you kind of learn to carve it down. It becomes more clear. It is very much the best way, I would say, in my opinion, to hone one's skill. So get out a piece of paper, man, in the chat room or just in a message to yourself. Get ready to write the dates. We're just going to go through the next 7 days of astrology, and we're going to proudly just kind of say what we mean what we say, and put it out there. And if you, Steph, or other astrologers out there have something different, please chime in. We'll go to the stars. We will look at it, and I will do my very best without my master astrologer partner here, Matt, to help me, but to share with you, for example, April 26th. That will be tomorrow. That will be Wednesday. And there's only one movement happening. So I'm going to put it here in the chat room. I'm going to do a little bit of everything at the same time. Wednesday. Mars and the moon conjunct in Cancer. Is that a thing? Can we say that? Does that look right? Does that sound right to you? Let me know. I'm laughing because of some of the chat. If you don't have the chance to join us live in YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram, live stream pools it all. So I see everyone. If you're not seeing the chat, it's not like I'm schizophrenic and you're missing something. It's kind of fun. Thank you for the log cabin comment. I do live in a log cabin in northern Minnesota. It's very cold. It's very snowy. But it is a log cabin. And I learned that if you have ants that eat your log cabin, which is very common, and then you have a bear that comes to eat the ants, because bears eat ants, on the log cabin that has ants sticking to the sap because it's not lacquered many times or whatever, that your insurance won't pay for that half-eaten deck and hole in your house. In case you're wondering, in case it ever happens to you. Anyway, I've been shocked lately by the dumb things that come to fruition so quickly, said Dolly. It absolutely is powerful. It's super, super, super powerful. So Before we get into Mars and Moon conjunct in Cancer, for those of you out there, Cancer is a water sign. Anybody that is interested in how these break down to earth, water, air, and fire, for me, it is so, so important to look at the vibe. It's almost like photography for me, the metaphor. So Steph adds, I also have the moon square Jupiter, the moon trine Neptune. Okay, so let me add that because that's really important. The moon squaring off with Jupiter. Hold on. Look at me trying not to have radio silence. Moon square. And I would say the moon, I believe, is in Leo. So then you've got the moon square Leo, Jupiter and moon trine Neptune and Pisces. So the Mars and moon conjunct Cancer, this is a lot of emotional motivations, energy that drives us towards emotive bonds, relationships, and fluid spaces about love. I would say fighting for your emotions to be felt. So, body awareness and autonomy. Yes, I'm talking strangely because I'm typing and thinking out at the same time. For those of you kind of laughing, and I appreciate that. That moon square Jupiter and moon trine Neptune, that's really important with the Neptune and Pisces, particularly. This is a space of like overdosing, fantasy. A dear friend and fellow podcaster of mine, Scotty Roberts, and Roberts, female counterpart in the UK, have a great show on the Odyssey space as well, I believe. He may have moved, I'm not sure. But you can find him online, Scotty's show. And they did fantasy today, which is something I work in often with sex offenders, fantasy and reality. And fantasy and reality, man, that's huge. So let's put that in for tomorrow. This is all for tomorrow. Be aware of fantasy and reality and the spaces in between, or just the definitions for awareness of the two, because they're very different. One cannot be the other. Overdosing on emotions and taking things too far. Ooh. So think about these feelings. These are tomorrow, a Wednesday, a hump day, middle of the week. Pretty emotional, pretty self aware, pretty focused on um, mm, motivations and drives. So, what might we say for what we expect to happen tomorrow in the news? You guys share in the chat room. And Pepper says, man, I've got a big final. I am just freaking out and crying about. I was in there today too, Sarah. It was great. Um, Fantasy and reality are not the same. True, not. Note to self, do not miss fantasy football and fantasy sex lineup. Very different. Please, did you see that Kaepernick got picked up as a secondary quarterback to the Chiefs? What are we thinking? Ah! Anyway, fantasy and reality are very, very different. And Brady, are you coming back? Are you pulling a Favre? Are we retiring? Are we not? We don't know. This is important to know. Mars is absolutely about fighting for what you know is real, and Cancer is all emotional tugging about that. It could be defensive, it could be attacking, it could be a defensive attacking, it could be emotional fights about what you know you are extremely passionate and um, attached to. I would say attachment and passion are themes of possible tug of wars. Thinking of a tug of war, tug boat, my brain, and war. I think of a war boat. I think of overdosing. I think of a drug new released or hits market. Ooh, I'll put that in my prediction space. What? I know, right? So I will say that is what I have for Wednesday, the 26th, those two movements. If you guys have anything else you want to add in the chat or things you would add in your predictions, please let us know. Speak it out. Are you serious? And with the cheat, I know I am serious. Pepper, you are going to be great on your final. You're going to be amazing on your final. You're going to do awesome. For those of you who are somewhat into football, I'm very into football. I grew up big fantasy, not a fantasy football fan, but um, I was a cheerleader. So I was forced to be very aware of the game. But then later, when I coached cheerleading, I found it very important that people learn what the game is about so you know what you're cheering for. And I'm a big football fan. So I play fantasy football and I have a really cool shirt on my website. It's my Hail Giselle. I'm sorry to laugh at my own jokes, but it was a really long and funny story. And I used to just chime in on how lucky Brady was that he had married Giselle because she was absolutely a witch and she helped him win all these Super Bowl rings. And then she recommended that he retire and he didn't listen. So I have a really fun shirt if you're kind of into fun, controversial, funny things. That's a Hail Giselle shirt you can check out on my website at paranormalsarah.com. But anyway, moving on to the astrology. You So I just love good humor. I love dark humor, and I'm very much a baseball fan as well. I'm not a basketball fan. So anyway, Thursday. Thursday, my favorite day of the week. Only one thing I have, so please, other astrologers out there, correct me if I am wrong. But the only thing that I have happening for Thursday to keep in mind, Matt often, when he is here, we kind of laugh that the moon movements aren't so terribly significant to him, and I'm usually laughing because I would say that this is a pretty big gender stereotype, perhaps, that a female body, biologically, we are adept to the yin space. So we are very much in sync with moon, menstruation, emotions, emotional regulation of that yin energy. And so moon cycles very much affect how we are feeling and thinking. And as a thinking and feeling creature, especially feeling very forward, if you're empathetic or a water sign, or if your moon sign is in a water space, like you're going to feel this. If you're not on birth control or pubescent or postmenopausal or in some way regulating your body cycle, you are going to notice the moon around you and changing around you. If you are a woman living with other women, if you're a man living among women, people menstruating at the same time, if you're a nurse and social work and doctors and medicine, Friday nights, the full moon, when it is a full moon, absolutely there are patterns to sociological behaviors. There are like big waves of how that affects people. And so I feel like just keeping an eye on the moon is always important. So Thursday, you're going to have a first quarter moon in Leo, and it's waxing. So it's getting big, it's getting brighter for us out there. And Leo is very much that prideful lion. It's egotistical and it is feelings growing about self, ego, identity, and what you want to be prideful about, which means you have to cull the herd and know the herd. You also have to know yourself. And so this is a little bit of a showing, and I would suggest like decorating self or identity flash flashiness. This is a feeling or burst of pride. So, how might this relate to what we see in our prediction space, or how do you think that this will affect the big groups of people? Let me know in the chat room if you have an addition there. So, Field Guy says, man, I work with all women and it makes me crazy. Hey, man, in some places you can't say crazy anymore. It's hate speech. Rebel, I don't get to graduate until 2026, one class at a time. Hey, Rebel, I'm with you. I feel like I pay as I go, and we may never know. The world may never know. Trophy yellow smiling, trophy yellow smiling. Dolly, not sure what's going on with that. Oh, it might just be emoji for Go Saints. We'll see. Cull the herd, cutting your group around you. Because if you want to be, the best of the best, you're in essence navigating, maybe even manipulating through people, obstacles in life to be the leader of the pack. The leader of the pack. Cancel culture will not make me change crazy. Well, I don't know. It may not be cancel culture. They might, who knows? Who knows? Anyway, I would definitely challenge C11 and other ridiculous censorship bills. I don't believe in censorship. And my high school English teacher would tell you that that's true because I wrote a big paper on it. That was really funny, I thought. I would not want to work with all women. I used to work with all women in a women's treatment center. It was quite a ride. It was an emotional, definitely watching the moon change and watching people be in and around their cycle times. I feel like it's really important to just know your own body, know yourself. I know that if I've got feelings of rage or depression or just regulating that it's really important. So Steph adds, man, the moon is opposite Pluto. So it can make that moon shine a bit in what's hidden from Pluto, the ruler of the underworld. Ooh, the moon opposite Pluto. I want to add that. And Pluto is in Aquarius. So that's a big deal, guys. That's going to definitely add an addition to what we know for predictions in the sociological space. Moon opposite Pluto in Aquarius. So this is feelings of asking and reflecting on themes of life, death, and deep transformation. Man, that's for me going to be very relevant as I'm in Kansas City, arriving, seeing my stepmom in probably a very poor state. It's going to be very difficult. The feelings that I may or may not have around that, and then knowing in a bigger way and bigger than myself that the planet in this space is going through deep death and rebirth. So, rebirth of what? Seeds, themes, um, and new beginnings. Hmm. We'll see how that plays out if anybody in the chat room wants to add theirs. That transformation of humanity, says Steph. That's very important. Hoping to hear from a loved one, says Christine. Let's get through this and see if we can't get to the readings at the end. So that's what you guys are doing. Watching AI, man. AI is a big, big forefront in a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in my own work in cyber psychology. So if you guys have additions to AI, trust me, I find that to be fascinating. And we can talk about that all day. Okay, moving into April 28th. This is Friday. And whereas I would usually say, holy cow, Friday, ugh, what do we got? I actually don't have any major movements. No major movements. So, unless one of our astrologers in the chat room has something different, I do not have anything listed for Friday. Nothing is moving from one constellation to the next. There's no planet going over. Stephanie says one thing to mention is that the moon in Leo will be squaring off with Mercury. So let's add that moon and Leo square Mercury, and that's retrograde in Taurus. So I kind of know that where it's at, right? I'm getting better, Matt. Aren't you proud of me? The moon feelings, so prideful feelings will be miscommunicated and perhaps falling on cold shoulders and deaf ears. Show and express concerns in many ways. I was going to say many variety of ways. I'm not sure that that makes sense. That squaring off with that, and then kind of also being winking off Uranus with Taurus, man, these are important to what you know. What do you know? And and asking this question is going to be so important. Who do you know? What do you know? Um, what do you know? Question mark. Man, that earth energy is very, very important. Okay, moving on to Saturday. Saturday, April 29th. Field guy, I know nothing. You know not what you know not. And Forgotten Promise wants to add, Matt, listening out there, hope that foot's getting better. We do hope that foot's getting better. Holy cow. So much. My friend of mine broke her elbow. Matt got the foot surgery. Like, I feel like everyone around me has got stuff they're dealing with. And it just, man, it's a humbling thing. Got in too soon, and good afternoon from Australia. Welcome, Jacene, Forgotten Promise, Rebel, all of you guys joining us. Let us do, where are we? We are on Saturday. Saturday. I want to type that in there. Pardon my slow pace as I do 5 things at once here. Saturday. The main thing I have listed, and again, please share what you got going on for Saturday. Steph's already putting in there. She's got something going on. The moon trine Jupiter. Talk to me about Mars and Cancer, sextile Uranus and Taurus. And then we're going to do the moon trine Jupiter. Moon in Leo. It's really kind of on the cusp. Trine Jupiter. And Jupiter is, man, I need my planet page up. Holy cow. Planets, when I'm looking at it, I will know. I believe that it is in Aries. I'm actually 100% certain that it's in Aries, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, no, totally. It is in Aries. It's going to be in Aries for a while. So, yes. Jupiter in Aries. Guys, that's fire. So think about this. A lucky aspect, Mars in Cancer, sextile Uranus and Taurus. So there's quick luck. Staying motivated, staying humble, watching the world change in the blink of an eye. Be very, 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 I would say maybe grounding and centering is a great suggestion for Saturday morning. That moon in Leo, fiery feelings, fiery luck, wanting more and more of what you're getting. Let's just throw a little bit more fire on the fire in the fire. Ooh, what's going to be on fire on Saturday? What do you think? Carson, I'm reading, just got my ultrasound. It came back. Oh, no. Like what you had, Sarah. No. Sorry to hear this, Carson. There's so many options. I just want you to keep that in mind for anybody going through a cancer. You know, there's just so many options. Teas and detoxes and just a lot of options. So I will keep you in my thoughts, and please let us know how we can help. Carson, yes, yes, please let us know how we can help. So, how do you feel about this, Rebel? Everything but the moon is in that Cancer space, and it really douses that flame. Whoa! It's like spitting fire, or someone spitting fire, or I watch someone at the bar taking that shot that's on fire and it slips out of the corner of their mouth and catches their hair and their shirt and then their, cologne. Oof. And they just go up in flames, and it's so scary. And it's just, wow. And then just like that, it's out. And like in the blink of an eye, that life has changed. Life has gone up in flames, up in flames. So just maybe pay attention, or pay in pain, as they sometimes and often say, in the realm of hypnosis, consciousness. You really just need to kind of pay attention. So, Sunday, I have one major thing happening, and please let me know if you guys have something different or something to add. Steph, especially, I just love those additions that you give us. But this is what I have, and I use the Farmer's Almanac. I also use, let me put a link in the chat for those of you who enjoy checking things out and are maybe more visual in nature. There you go. Um, so yeah, take a gander here. Sunday, the moon, which will be in Virgo, and Ceres in Virgo. So this is one of these. Okay, what? Ooh, excuse me. Ooh, am I going to need a drink? Am I going to need it? No, I'm going to be okay. No, I'm going to be okay. Okay. Um, Ceres represents nurturing. Ceres represents motherhood. Ceres is that little, I believe it's an asteroid. Please, it might be a dwarf planet. Oh, I think it's a dwarf planet. And it is the Earth Mother, or the little itty bitty baby planet that really is exactly what Virgo represents. So when I think about what Virgo is and nurturing, these feelings are now moving um, to the forefront with themes of motherhood. And of course, I'm reading this and thinking, man, I am going to be bedside to my stepmother passing. And I just know that that's going to be very emotional, very, very relevant. And yeah, I just find it to be not ironic, but ironic and very relevant. Like I can already see how, in my specific space, how this is going to pan out. But harvest, fertility. Pepper says research SECT in capsules. It's known to heal and cure cancer. Sip, sip. Learned this from Native American tribes. Yes. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I just like watching all around all the little things that maybe give a huge nudge to me. Don't be sorry ever, Steph, ever, unless you really want to be, or need to be. Isn't Ceres the reason Pluto lost its planet status? Probably, maybe. I'm not up with NASA and why they take those things away. Um, but yeah, it's likely like a mass or matter related thing. So I feel like this is going to be very relevant. This is going to be some of that OCD, those feelings of what is it that I can do better or do right, and how can I nurture myself and self-care. So keep this in mind. What do you guys think, though, for the predictions of how this will affect things in a bigger way? Ritual, suggestions, self-care, and I would say feminine leader or role steps forward, and harvest or fertile land issues arise. That's just what I'm going to say there. Say what you will. I don't know if anyone has anything left for Sunday, and that is the last day of April. Good riddance, April. Good riddance to you. Crazy tornadoes, wild earthquakes, sinkholes, lots of natural disasters. Biden and Trump both announcing their presidency. And I had just said, I put out a new shirt. It's going to launch tomorrow, but it was in reference to today's announcements, but it just says anyone but him. And so it's whichever side of the rally you're on, or however you feel about it. I really felt like that could instigate some good conversation and assumptions. And that was my motto. And I feel like that's what we're saying goodbye to. And instead, we are going to have the very first, May 1st. May 1st. I should write that on there. But May 1st is going to be the sun in Taurus. Doo, doo, doo. And it's conjunct Mercury retrograde in Taurus. So you've got, man, you've got some kind of powerful themes going on here where a great day to be thinking, solving problems, puzzles, riddles, reasoning out things, figuring shit out, finances, investments, brainstorms, money, 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 money. And what I love about this is that this looks like it's probably going to be like a first quarter thing. Stocks, growth, announcements of money, money, magic will be important, but also earth energy. That's Archangel Uriel, being able to sit and think and be silent. There's going to be a brainstorm. Ooh. And I imagine it's May Day. May Day, May Day, May Day. The 1st of May. And this is going to be pretty significant to just the vibe. Cold. Get your shit in order. Great day to plan out investments, budget, and make plans accordingly. One more thing I have for Monday, May 1st. This is kind of significant too, I think, for anybody going through the major Pluto life transformations. And I know you are. Monday, May 1st. I also have this. And Monday's my cat Chester's 12-year birthday. Pluto going retrograde. Oh, don't even say that. Pluto going retrograde. Don't even say that. I'm going to put it in there, though. I'm going to trust you. And it's an Aquarius. God, that means that there's going to be a huge life shift. I wonder if that, thing about hospice is you put someone on hospice, you don't know. They could get better, they could not. It's really an emotional roller coaster. So it's like save a cowboy and ride this fucking emotional roller coaster. And that's pretty crazy. So knowing that Pluto, life transformation, in Aquarius, emotional things, rules, shifts, bans, that's going to be interesting. But Juno entering Gemini. What is Juno? Right? That's an asteroid. Seriously. Let me know how you feel about that. And it's the asteroid of marriage. Love bonds, marriage, being widowed, air signs, very witty, Gemini. So the next few weeks, as of May 1st, it's going to be ideal for deep personal conversations, relationship building, bonding, growth, therapy, transformation. Do not lead people on with the use of flirty language because people are going to be falling in and out of love. This is going to be contracts, allies, co-parenting of life in a very witty, sarcastic, almost fun and open way. Now, what do you guys think in the chat for how this is going to pan out? Steph, disclosures. Carson says, I'm a hospice nurse and I so understand what you are saying. We don't know. You're hopeful, you're not hopeful, you want them to die, you don't want them to die. It's a really mixed pot. Disclosures, I think, is a really great word. An asteroid in Gemini, so kind of smoothing across that constellation, Pepper. Pentagon and government disclosures for sure. I thought Juno was the satellite that they sent to observe Jupiter. I believe same name. Gosh. Disclosures of Pentagon. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I would agree. We'll just say that. We will say that. So, one more asteroid thing happening, unless you guys have anything happening for Monday night. That's all I have those big shifts, and those are big enough. But let's go ahead and round out the night to give us the last 10 minutes to do some readings with this new deck. I drop my guard in and hope for a truce, says Dolly. Ooh, the word truce. Rebel, I thought Juneau was in Alaska. It's also a city there. Yep. They need to not name things and some change asteroids' names and satellite makes no sense. They there is no sense anymore. So we're hoping on a prayer. Living on a prayer. So Tuesday, let me know if you guys have any significant things happening. My Farmer's Almanac has one thing happening for Tuesday, May 2nd. If you're in the chat room, you see it a little bit ahead of everybody else. So you should probably make your way there every Tuesday at 9 p.m. That's okay, though, if you're joining us on Odyssey. You could be downloading it on iHeartRadio. You could be on Subspace. We just got picked up by Subspace. I'm so excited that we're there as well. It means that we're reaching like almost, I don't know, millions. We'll just say millions. That's cool. The capital of Alaska, Juneau. I learned that from Animaniacs. That's true. But Tuesday, May 2nd, Palas, or is it Payas? Palas. I'll say Palas. Palas, that's another asteroid. Why do we care about the asteroids? Because it's a UAP. What? It's a UFO. It is, but it's not. It's an identified flying object, and it is something that changes our sky. It affects how things are moving, how we navigate, and all of our residual ancestors that once looked up and saw something whizzing past, man, it really does change the consciousness of people that are not aware of what it may be. They might think it is the end. It is the second coming. It is Jesus Christ coming down. It's really hard to say. But if you know better. You know that on Tuesday, May 2nd, Pallas, this asteroid, is going to enter Leo. And what the heck does that mean for sociology? Well, that asteroid specifically, roaring in the sign of Lion, it'll be for the next few weeks, by the way, too. It's going to give you a boost of energy. It's going to give you a boost of valor, courage. Oh, I don't know if that's a good thing. Strength to be the royalty, the royal we of the jungle that is the chaos we are in. Beware, putting yourself in the spotlight could lead you into danger. Avoid drama when you can, but be aware of the royal we. I think of this as Eliism, the ability to actually put your own journal, speech, or narrative into the third person. Some people do this naturally, but you can also change a certain thought cycle by speaking in the third person because you remove the emotionality of something by saying, "We are going to Taco Bell." It's less likely that people are going to argue because there's strength in numbers. And it's also, you're able to see it from a worldview or a third party perspective. So Eliism, or the royal we, has quite a significant power. And I think that this is going to come into play on Tuesday. It's going to be relative to the news. It's going to be in the news. It's going to be something that we are hearing about. So, what do we have in the chat room as we finish up? Is there any additions to Tuesday's astrology or to the next 7 days? Any predictions you guys want to throw out there? What is the sign for May 25th? I know I'm jumping, but man, I have surgery there, says Pepper. I haven't actually done my astrological breakdown of May, but I can tell you that going into the end of May, you are on May 25th. There's nothing significant happening, but you are going to be in a Gemini Taurus space. So you may like get called in to come in a little early, or you might get like a misspeak on some things. We're still going to be in retrograde. So May really has a lot of fun little things popping in and out of what we should expect to be a very emotional month. Prudent warfare, says Dolly of the Palas definition. Pepper says it's for cardiac. What is that word? Ablation? Ablation? Ablation. What's that mean? I've not heard that word, I don't think. Cardiac ablation. Um, hmm. Hmm. I have Moon square Mercury and Moon quincux Saturn. Ooh, let's add that just in case. Moon in Virgo. Let's add it. Then we'll do some readings. Moon in Virgo. See how much I trust the people that join us. Squaring Mercury in Taurus. Square Mercury retrograde in Taurus. Mind you, we got to speak fully about this so that we know. And quincux Saturn. This is where I wish I had Matt here. Quincux Saturn, and Saturn is going to be on that day. Let's go to the map. Pisces. Saturn is in Pisces over there with Neptune and Pisces. So, man, that just is a lot of feelings are obsessed with perfection and order, and yet miscommunications about life and callous discussions of deep emotions create a chaotic vision and plan. Use the cold energy to be calm and collected while rules shift and laws of nature grow around you. This is going to be pretty significant. I'll go to the chat room here as we close out on astrology. When you hear me talking out loud, I'm really just kind of looking at the math and the numbers, and I associate words with that. They go in, take an x-ray of the heart. They go through the 2 chamber walls of the heart, the scar, and AFib. It regulates heart. Fun stuff. Yuck. That does not sound fun. Procedure using small burning and freezing. Yuck. Does not sound fun. Forgive me for asking so many personal questions, says Pepper. No problem. Perfect definition, said Sarah. Okay, great. Here we go. Last few moments, guys, and literally we do have just a few moments, so maybe I'll just pull a card for all of us here watching. I want you to think about what it is that you have a question about, and we will do a serendipitous, all of us having a secret question in our mind. If you would like to get a reading from this deck, I love this deck. I've really, oh my gosh, look at how cool it is. What? I love it, love it, love it. I want some more of it. It's very bold. It's very blunt. It's very forward. It's very Jack the Ripper. It's very X-Acto knife. It's very surgery with little amnesia, maybe some opium or cocaine out of a bottle from the 1920s. It's like very plague doctor. It's very surgical. I want you to think right now of what that question is you're asking in your head. Think of it. I'm going to pull a card for all of us. Can you believe it? Am I going to pull a David Copperfield? Sarah, please reread the above chat. Perfect definition, Sarah. Sarah, those two were for May 25th. Oh, sorry. Skip steps, comments. Those are important. Okay, good. So then I'll take that for May 25th. Thank you. She says, Sarah, please, please. Oh, and see what's fun is I can take that and then I can go all the way down to or eventually I'll do watch May 25th. And look at that. Look, see, you don't even have to be worried. I'll go in and that'll be ahead of the game. Whew, take a deep breath. See? No worries. Here we go. Mm, interesting. The High Priestess. The High Priestess, man, this is a major arcana card. And I want you guys, again, if you've been joining us tonight, you kind of understand, man, if this is relative to my mom, my stepmom, or going to like, being that maternal vibe, this is really important to think about intuition. This is not just intuition of life, but this is creation and what it is that you know that you want to put out into the world. And that the fruit doesn't fall that far from the tree, but there's also this really cool space where you don't really know what something is when you're looking at it until the fruit really bears and shows itself. Sometimes until you even put it in your mouth, you don't know what it is. So, major life change and to pay attention to the maternal instincts of creation, Mother Earth, and Father Time. I think of Charlotte's Web. I think of the ability to grieve change in life. And I think about how important the high priestess is to management and delegation of that creation. It's really key to be able to contain your emotions when you need, but still be so deeply attached to things that you know them. Because you know them, they are you, they're from you, they're of you. It's very a deep connection. And I really, really love it. The high priestess is all about power. And I think it's very, 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 Steph says, is the tower next? Ooh, no, the next is the King of Cups. Do, 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 do. Paternal emotions. Very relative to that as well. But you guys, if you would like a personal card, a personal reading, please, please, please reach out and let me know. I'd be glad to do that for you. I'm raising money for Kansas City as I'll be taking that trip this week. But I want to thank you for joining me tonight, for helping me, Steph, and all of you in the chat, sharing along. Please check out Subspace. Check out all of the iHeartRadio downloads for astrology and alchemy. Join us next week and let me know your thoughts and feedback. Next week, it should be Matt and I here for astrology and alchemy every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central. We will see you then. And I can do things.